What's better than classic Sega Genesis and Mega Drive games? New Sega Genesis and Mega Drive games. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at over 40 brand new, re-released and remastered Sega Genesis and Mega Drive games. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. Welcome back, and in this week's show we're going to be taking a look at my personal collection of brand new games, remasters and re-releases for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. Now believe it or not, there are over 200 brand new games, remasters and re-releases for Sega's 16-bit console, and you can find one of the most comprehensive lists of all of these remasters, remakes and brand new games for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive on the Facebook group Extreme Mega Drive Collectors. Now, because there are so many games in today's video, I've grouped them into publishers, different developers, and into games that are remakes and remasters. And you can quick link to all of these in the chapters below. Now, many of the games that you're going to see today, you can still buy from the original publisher and developer, but a few of them, you're going to be at the mercy of eBay and those eBay seller prices. Right, let's take a look at this awesome collection of brand new, remastered, and re-released games for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. So this is my PSCD collection of Sega Mega Drive and Genesis games. Now, PSCD are quite a unique publisher because they don't just publish games, they also develop them. So what happens is a developer wants to bring a game to the Sega Mega Drive, and PSCD games are the guys to do it. But what they actually do is not only do a straightforward port, so take your game from one console to another, they do a ton of development over the top of it. And a great example of this is their Kickstarter game, Black Jewel Reborn. Now this game was a C64 game, I believe, or a kind of in the style of a C64 game. And they're like completely rebuilding it from the ground up to work on the Mega Drive. And it's got new features and new characters and a ton of new stuff. So they go beyond just publishing your game. They actually take your game, work with you to make it better, and in some cases completely rewrite it. And we've got games that have been on the Nintendo Switch that they brought over to the Mega Drive, and they've got games that have been on Steam and they've done the same. They're also working on their own Resident Evil game, which looks absolutely amazing. But let's take a look at the PSCD collection. So first up, we've got Debtor from PSCD Games. Really nice little platformer game, one of their earlier games that they made here. So it comes with this little manual here. The print and box aren't as good as their latest games, but the game is a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Kind of a modern art style to it, but yeah, nice little solid platformer there. Alien Cat's probably one of the more well-known titles that PSCD Games have published and helped co-develop. Recently got I think a Super Nintendo Kickstarter as well, and there was an option to upgrade in that Kickstarter to a Mega Drive version if they hit a goal. I don't think they got that funded, unfortunately, but this is a really fun puzzle game that's got some really ingenious elements that come into it later on. Foxyland, another platformer, really nice visually. I think this has been on quite a few platformers now. PSCD Games obviously handling the Mega Drive port there. A lot of fun to play. Relatively simple in terms of mechanics, but a fun, solid game with a great soundtrack. Thunderpaw. Now this is one of the more modern releases from PSCD Games, and you can start to see the guys are starting to bring in some new branding in for PSCD Games here. This game is really nice. Now I think it came out on Steam and the Nintendo Switch, and it's a run and gun with platform elements in it. So I think you have to kill everything in the platform before you can move on to the next one. But really nice mechanics. The shooting mechanics is awesome in it, and I love the visual art style. Bone Marrow, probably one of the best pieces of artwork on a PSCD game. The game's relatively simple, also came out on the Nintendo Switch. It's a puzzle game, really ingenious actually. So you combine different things together and that upgrades them until you kind of get into a combat situation on the playboard over here. Again, you can start to see more of the extras that PSCD Games start to include with their games, like stickers. The very latest game that you can purchase from PSCD Games is Hunter Girls. Now there's two games that are currently out on Kickstarter, but this is the latest one. Really nice. So this is an endless runner And it's so well done, really nice. The mechanics in it are really good. So you've got to press jump and attack at different times, and your different characters that you have running behind you all have different abilities that help you get through the level. Again, all that lovely modern design packaged up into a 16-bit Sega Mega Drive and Genesis game. I have one collector's edition from PSCD Games, and that's 𝗵𝗺𝗴𝗺𝗀𝗃𝗃, one of the early fighting games, or early modern fighting games to come out on the Sega Mega Drive. Gameplay wise, it's okay, right? It's not the best fighting game you'll ever play. It kind of sits, I don't know, it's a solid 6 out of 10 fighting game. But there's a load of presentation that PSCD Games did with this. So you can see here, you've got special edition box. I think there's a standard edition box as well, but this is the special edition. There's some stuff inside there. And then you also got this. Now, I don't know what the actual real name for these are. In England, we call them Russian dolls, but they're called something else, the proper name for them. And it's all the fighters inlaid into each other. Now, just be careful taking it apart. Don't want to ruin it. So you can see here we've got the PSCD Games logo painted at the bottom here. And essentially it's every single fighter inside inside themselves. I don't know how many there were. I've forgotten how many there are. Really lovely. The artwork and the painting on this is absolutely fantastic. It's such a cool little idea for a collectible as well. And I think, oh no, it goes even one further. So there's our smallest one. Let's bring her into the camera. And it goes one more. I don't want to break it. There we go. I think that's the boss. Hang on, is there one more? There's one more. I didn't even realize there was one inside that. There we go. That's the last one. Let's get that close up. Very, very cool. Next up, we have the 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 collection. And what I love about them is the artwork that they have on their front covers and down their spines. Looks absolutely fantastic. This is nearly a complete 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 collection. I think Alice Sisters is the only one I'm missing, and I haven't bought that because I have it on the Dreamcast already. But let's take a look at the 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 collection. So you can see here the quality of the artwork on the 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 games are fantastic, really nice. I love that we've got artwork on the spine as well. And you know, the quality, like the fact that they've done 𝗵𝗺𝗃 in the Mega Drive logo as well is fantastic. I love that attention to detail. They're trying to keep it authentic whilst adding their own branding in there as well. So 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 This is an RPG, really nice RPG. I've not finished it yet. I've played probably the first 2 hours of the game, but it is a lot of fun. Presentation's really nice. I think quite a few of the 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 games are re-releases, so games that came out originally, not officially on Sega's platform, so they weren't published by Sega. I think they're like Taiwanese releases or something like that. But I just love the quality that 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃 put into their physical boxes. Water Margin, awesome game. Now I think Water Margin is, again, it came out back in the 90s, and I think it was like a paint over of Knights of the Round, the Super Nintendo version of Knights of the Round. So this is quite common in games. A lot of people go, oh look, it's fake, they just use Knights of the Round. Happened all the time back in the 90s, still happens to an extent nowadays, where developers will take an existing game and then use that, paint over the top of it, rework it, add their own mechanics in, and it just helps speed up development. So a very, very common practice, but I love playing Water Margin. If you like Knights of the Round, that's pretty much what you're getting here. Generals of the Yang family. Again, physical box is amazing. The game is okay, right? It's a solid maybe 6. If you push it, you could maybe say 7 out of 10. Side-scrolling, beat 'em up. It's okay. There's some really nice visuals in it. Really like the presentation in it, but gameplay just isn't quite as good as Water Margin. Magic Pockets. This was an Amiga game that got ported over to the Mega Drive. Really fun, a lot of fun. It's got that typical Amiga style graphics to it, so it's instantly recognizable as an Amiga game, but looks really nice. Now I think this is the alternative box art I've got, so there's two versions of the box art that 𝗵𝗺𝗄𝗧𝗧 made for this game. I really like this one. Looks so cool. But again, this presentation for 𝗵𝗺𝗄𝗧𝗧 Mega Drive games are amazing. Last game in my collection. This was actually a gift from 𝗴𝗺𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗴. Awesome person in the Mega Drive community. Found me at Gamescom. I was on the Xbox stand. I was presenting the game that I had made, and it was being released on the Xbox. He came and found me and gave me this. This is FX Unit Yuki. Extremely hard to get the pixel art version. Now I think it's getting a limited re-release from another publisher, but the pixel art version of this is so hard to get hold of. And I've got a review queued up for this one because it has Sega as the enemy, which is contentious, especially on the Retro Gamer Boy show. But yeah, very cool game. Next up, we have the fantastic Neofid. Now, these guys develop and publish their own IP, and more recently, they've started to help out other Mega Drive developers or other developers bring their games to the Sega Mega Drive. And they've got these awesome kind of collector's press kits as well. Demons of Osterburg is the first game from Neofid. This is my Kickstarter copy here. And these guys do an unbelievable job of their presentation. There's so much in here, like lovely colored manuals, stickers, postcards, there's gaming cards inside it, and the game itself is stunning. Really good. You know, the kind of game you'd find on PSN or Nintendo Switch. It's it's a kind of modern indie retro pixel art game you'd expect to find on Steam. It's so well done. So many cool graphical tricks and things they get the Mega Drive to do. So this is the Kickstarter copy, and then I also got sent this very kindly from Neofid when they launched. This is the press version of the game, and I'll carefully unwrap this because it comes with a load of stuff. So you get this like knife here, which has a load of assets on there, so screenshots, videos, that kind of stuff. And then you've got the game itself, which I think has got the same kind of stuff in as the one we've just looked at there. There might be a few extra pieces. Then you get a load of more stuff in here. There's loads more playing cards in here, as well as postcards. And inside you get a map of the Kingdom of Osterburg as well on this cloth printed material. So cool. That was their first game. Amazing. A lot of people go on about the quality of Watermelon's games, if you can get a game from them, that is. But I'd have to say the other French developer who's absolutely smashing it and delivering it is Neofid. Now that's just their first game. Their second game, Osterbros, was my game of 2023. And again, there's some really nice artwork. Both games come with reversible cover art on there. This is currently one I'm sporting here, but I do switch it around. So I've got different cover art showing every now and then. But this game is amazing. It's kind of like a roguelite type dungeon crawler. The mechanics are amazing. The character design is amazing. I love the audio in it. It is such a well-built game. So cool. This is just the Kickstarter version. And again, you get all these different playing cards in here, loads of stickers, some awesome artwork on these postcards here, color manuals. Both these games have battery save on them. It's just unbelievable. And I think Osterbros is now the largest Sega Mega Drive and Genesis games. It's got 120 meg cart in it. So before that it was, I think it was probably 𝗵𝗺𝗄𝗃 who was boasting 80 meg. Again, if you could get your hands on it. But this one, now the biggest game you can get on the Sega Mega Drive. And just like Demons of Asterborg, they also made another amazing collector's edition. So we'll have a quick look at that as well. Again, we've got this knife at the top here, and that has all of the photographs, screenshots, videos, maybe the ROMs on here as well, I'm not sure. This is the alternate artwork. I love it in this kind of Japanese artwork style here. They don't do a European blue spine yet. They do the traditional Japanese artwork. They do Genesis, they do the old black spine Mega Drive, but they don't actually do blue spine PAL yet, which is quite interesting. And then again inside, this is awesome. So with this version, they also sent me the labels, so you can have the Japanese label on it, or I could change it for the Mega Drive label, or I could change it for the Genesis label. So I could switch it up as much as I like. There's stickers in the back there, as well as that amazing color manual. So that was very cool. And then inside this, it's so hard to repack this box because there's so much in here, we've got like these cards that they give you, really nice art cards, so you can get those framed. There's more postcards, stickers inside there. Then there's this huge pack of gaming cards in here with all the different characters from Astro Bros, which is amazing just to see all the concept art pushed out onto these cards. Really, really nice. There's also, if I can get it out, a nice poster, and I think this is a double-sided poster of the box art. So there's this box art here, really, really nice. And then we have this box art here as well. So again, very, very, very cool. And there's even more stickers and a little thank you message from the team as well. The 𝗫𝗄𝗃 Magazine software collection. These are some of my favorite developers out there for the Sega Mega Drive. Now, I think all three of these games came out originally on MSX, and they even done some ports to the Steam, but the Mega Drive versions are absolutely fantastic. Real tongue-in-cheek, lovely gameplay, and each one is a different kind of genre of game as well, which is amazing considering how big the team is. 𝗫𝗃 Magazine software, another one of my favorite developers for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, and based on the number of views from you guys looking at videos, probably one of yours as well. I think these guys have the highest number of views per video for any of their games. Metal Dragon here is the first one that they brought to the Mega Drive. This was out on the MSX originally. Not back in the day, it was a modern game developed for the MSX. A run and gun, top-down shooter, really, really cool. Tongue-in-cheek humor in there, kind of a parody of Metal Gear Solid, but so much fun to play this, so much fun. Classic Ikari Warriors type gameplay. Next up, we have Life on Mars. This is I guess you'd call it like a Metroidvania type game. Not 100% there, but it's got a lot of the core mechanics you'd find in a Metroid-like type game. Huge amount of fun. Really, really enjoyed playing this game. It's a game that you can try speed run as well. There's a load of extra collectibles that you can get that go beyond just the core game. Really nice, and it's the first in a two-part series. I don't know if there's going to be a third one, but there's definitely two parts to this game. So Life on Mars, if you haven't picked it up now, definitely get this. It's such an awesome game. And then the sequel to that was this, Life on Earth. And Life on Earth, again, it came out on the MSX. I don't know if it got a Steam release. Life on Mars definitely got a Steam release as well. But Life on Earth definitely was an MSX modern game, and then came to the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive version is stunning. I love Cyberpunk, and the gameplay is different. Whereas Life on Mars was a Metroidvania-like game, this is run and gun. And it has one of the best soundtracks probably one of my favorite soundtracks ever for the Sega Mega Drive on it. So well done, so good. Again, come highly recommended. And it's another one of the videos on my channel where a ton of people have watched it and loved it. We also played it on live at the arcade, a huge amount of fun playing it on there. But if you've not picked up Life on Earth, definitely recommend this. Retrobit are probably the biggest and most established of all of these independent developers and publishers. And what Retrobit do is they take titles that came out before and re-release them, officially re-release them. These are licensed from the IP owners that own these games. And for someone like me that lives in the PAL territory where these games never really came out at all, it's our opportunity to own officially licensed versions of the game. Now, Sega aren't the publisher this time round, it's Retrobit, but the developers are the developers that actually had these games back in the day. So it's awesome to get these officially licensed titles. So for the Retrobit collection, I'm not going to go through all of these individually in detail. I've got individual videos already made for every single one of these games. Retrobit do a stunning job. They take these old games, originally released back in the 90s, and they re-release them. And they're officially licensed. So whilst not officially published by Sega, they're published by Retrobit. They are officially licensed. So from the people that own these games, the companies that own these games, Retrobit go back and get them licensed. And the presentation is amazing. You can see here, you get these cool cartridges on the back of the PCB. They put the logos. And every single one of these games is limited. So they're limited to the pre-launch window of the game. So you can see here, 𝗴𝗺𝗶𝗴𝗺 only got 3,400 copies made. And then that's it. They don't make any more. They only make the number of pre-orders they get. And then if you want to get your hands on it, you have to go to eBay and then you're paying double the cost. But they do an absolutely amazing service for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis community, bringing back these old games. Officially licensed games. So these are the official re-releases of these games. So for someone like me that lives in the PAL territories, we never got these games. So these are the official re-releases of those games. It's great to have not just like a knockoff physical copy of it, to have a physical official release of these games is amazing. Games like this, 𝗏𝗺𝗃𝗃. Now we got 𝗏𝗺𝗃𝗃, sorry. We got 𝗏𝗃𝗃 in Europe, never got 𝗏𝗃𝗃. And I didn't actually realize, I know a lot about the Mega Drive, I don't know everything. And I didn't realize 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 was a thing. And to play it is amazing. It's so close to 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃. Just shows you how technically impressive 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 originally was, and has a stunning soundtrack in it. They also do these big box editions which come with like standees in them, and then multiple collections of the game. So this is the 𝗏𝗺𝗃 collection, all three of the 𝗏𝗺𝗃 games that came out on the Mega Drive. Now there's obviously other 𝗏𝗺𝗃 games on other consoles, but again, the presentation here is stunning. I don't have the 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 collection. Missed out on that one. Absolutely gutted that I missed out on the 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 collection. And I missed out on the Mega Man Wily Wars Collector's Edition. And again, you got to remember, these are all officially licensed games. So I missed out on an officially licensed Collector's Edition of Mega Man and the officially licensed 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 collection. Maybe I have to jump onto eBay at some point and pay, what is it now? Probably triple the cost of what they originally were. So don't make my mistake. If you're a collector or you want to play these games and have the official physical versions of them, make sure you keep an eye out for the pre-orders that Retrobit do, because they're over within like a month, and then you find out that you've missed out on an awesome physical licensed copy of the game. Next up, we have a collection of individual games that weren't released or developed by any one publisher or developer. Doesn't mean that they didn't release more games, it's just that these are what are in my collection. And in these games here, we have some of my favorite games on the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. We'll start it off with 𝗵𝗺𝗶𝗴𝗺. Now this is probably the most dubious one. It's got a naked character in it. But probably the artwork's the most risque thing in this. The actual game itself shows you a butt crack, and then your character's naked and she's running around. And the idea is that's a narrative premise where the characters come from the jungle into the city, and she's found out that I think everyone's been turned into zombies, and so she's off to go save the city by defeating all these enemies, but she's naked. The naked bit, you know, people make a big deal out of it, but it's really the gameplay. The gameplay is really, really well done. It's a very, very solid game and definitely worth checking out. The Cursed Knight. This is a very special copy because the developers of this game actually put the Retro Gamer Boy show on this copy of the game. So one of the billboards you walk past has a copy of the Retro Gamer Boy show, an ad for the Retro Gamer Boy show there. The game itself is super cool, very well done, and kind of very Mega Man-esque in some places, definitely in style. Broke Studio do the publishing of this game. GGS are the developers, and they have a sequel in the making, which is Dark Legacy, which I think is a true sequel to the game as well. Slightly different in its presentation, bigger sprites, different platforming mechanics to it. Really can't wait to see it. I thought it was coming out in 2023. Hopefully it comes out in 2024, but Cursed Legacy will be the sequel to this. Keep your eye out for that. 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃. This is, well, it's obviously from the film Wreck-It Ralph, and someone went off and actually made that game and ported it to a ton of systems, including the Sega Mega Drive. So this is my copy here. I'll probably redo it. This was a kind of a dodgy copy that I got off online. Not really to the quality I like, so I'll reshell it, redo it, make a manual for it, and we'll get that looking a lot more official. 𝗫𝗎𝗄𝗏 in Cleopatra's Curse. Very, very, very fun game. Again, this is Metroidvania-like. Collect weapons and gadgets to help you get through the maze. It's a huge game. I was hoping to get the CD version of this game. So the CD version of this game comes with a CD. You put it inside your Mega CD, and then the soundtrack for each level is CD quality soundtrack. Very cool little feature. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get hold of one, but I did get the one which comes with the map, so it shows you the map of the entire world. But yeah, one day hopefully I'll get the CD as well. But very cool game, very nice. It only comes in Genesis branding. There's not a PAL Mega Drive version of this, which is, you know, for me as a PAL Mega Drive owner, it would have been nice to have that, but still, very cool game to own. Block'em Sock'em. This is by the immortal John Hancock. Fun little puzzle game. Once you've done the first few levels, you get a sense of what the entirety of the game is like. I just put together this shell here because I purchased this. This is one of the first editions that was released, and it had a bug in it, so they stopped releasing it and did a republish on them. But I wanted this because it was an early release of the game, so I rebuilt the artwork for it and called it a beta. But you know, pretty close to the artwork that you find on the original game as well. So cool to have it, fun little game, worth picking up if you can find it for the right price. Tanglewood. Oh my god, this game is so good. Famous for a number of reasons. Famous because it is a great game, really well presented, but the game was developed on original Sega Mega Drive hardware. Everything about this was done originally. A lot of the modern games we're seeing now are done with the SDGDK, which is a kind of modern development kit that allows you to program in C and does all the kind of conversion to assembly, or does a load of tool stuff. I don't know the exacts, I don't develop for the Mega Drive, but this one is done with original hardware. And this game is so good. If you've not played it. The best mechanic in this game comes in halfway through. I don't know why I didn't have it a little bit earlier, maybe for narrative reasons, but one of the best modern releases out there. And back in the day, this would have been a AAA title, easily. Insane Pain, the second fighter, indie fighter that I own. Now, fighters are really, really, really hard to make. Even nowadays, modern fighters, very few companies make them because they're so hard to get right. And Insane Pain doesn't get it right 100%, but it moves the needle. It moves us closer to getting a AAA fighter. the presentation of this game is AAA. There's so much cool stuff in here, really nice player cards and stickers, cool manuals. There's just so many cool things in here. We've got the cartridge in there as well. Really, really nice. The game itself is fun to play. It's a solid fighter. I can't get that out now. We'll leave it in there. I don't want to risk damaging it. Yeah, the fighter it's pretty solid. I'd say it's middle of the road. It's not the best fighter out there. It sits nice in the middle of the pack of fighters that you can buy on the Sega Mega Drive. But it does move a needle, and I think that's why it's so significant. It's significant because it gets us closer to getting an indie-developed AAA fighter. And finally in this group, 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃. I love 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃. I make no pretense about how much I love 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃. 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃 is one of the most stunning independent developed games ever made. It is pure gold. Twin stick-esque shooter. In fact, there's a mod out there where you can mod a 6-button joypad, so that it does have a second stick on it. It's hard to describe how good this game is. Visually, gameplay, structure, mechanics, sound. It is top notch. If you buy just one game out of all the amazing games I've showed you so far, if you buy just one game, make sure it's 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, please. This is my MegaCat collection. Now, MegaCat do a lot more games. Some of the games you actually find in the Pixel Heart collection. Some of them are quite unique to MegaCat themselves, but I've only got 2 games currently from MegaCat. Diamond Thieves, it's an okay kind of puzzle platform game. It won't blow you away, especially if you like your graphics. Visually, it's a little underwhelming for a Mega Drive game. Not to say it's bad, right? It's very stylized in an 8-bit kind of way, so something you could definitely do on the Sega Master System. I'd say, you know, again, we got a solid 6 out of 10 game here, but it's fun for the time you've got it. I wouldn't spend a huge amount of money on it though. Sacred Line 2. So Sacred Line 1 was published by wonderland, you know, those guys who still haven't sent me my copy of 𝗵𝗺𝗻 that I spent £200 on. But nonetheless, the developer this time dumped wonderland and went to MegaCat Games. Probably a good thing, because only a few months after the Kickstarter, the game actually came out. And this is a narrative point-and-click game, I guess. So you play through the story. It's quite fun. I haven't finished it yet. I've played, I don't know, maybe 50% through it. This is a Kickstarter version, so it comes with a ton of goodies in here. But you can go on to the MegaCat website and pick up a copy there. Again, very, very different. This won't be for everyone. If you don't like reading text and choosing options, then this is not going to be for you. But if you like your narrative-based story games, then this might be worth taking a look at. This collection here is mostly made up of remasters, re-releases, ports to the Sega Mega Drive. Again, not released by any one developer or any one publisher. And a large number of these have my own custom artwork and custom manuals put into them because they're only available as ROMs. Zero Tolerance. One of the best, if not the best, first-person shooter for me on the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. Now, when I found out that there was a sequel, Zero Tolerance Underground, I had to get this. This is an official release of the sequel with the original game from Strictly Limited Games and Pico Interactive. So at last I've got to play the sequel, not the sequel we all know, but the sequel, which is essentially lots of extra levels for the original. I guess nowadays you'd call it a DLC. I get to finally play that, and it's as glorious as the original release was. Chips Challenge. Now, I think this is a port to the Mega Drive. Originally, I can't remember which platform it was on. Maybe C64, I want to say. This is an official release. Puzzle game. It's fun. It's not going to blow you away. It's a C64 game. You know, there's not much done to it to move it on from, I think it was a C64 game anyway. Yeah, not much done to it to move it beyond what the original game was, but cool to have a little bit of gaming history and to have a port, an official port, make it to the Sega Mega Drive. Mortal Kombat Arcade Edition. Now this version of the game is a ROM hack where they redid all the visuals of the game to get it closer to the arcade version. And this is the closest you can get on the Sega Mega Drive to the original Mortal Kombat on arcade. Sounds been redone, characters reworked, timings redone, backgrounds redone. This box here, manual, cartridge, this is my work. So you can get this for free. You can download the ROM hack and then apply it to the ROM, so you can actually have an awesome looking version of Mortal Kombat on your Sega Mega Drive. And as always, I like to go that one step further and make sure I've got the physical version as well. Staying on ROM hacks and the official versions, I wanted a PAL version of Golden Axe 3. Obviously only came out, I think, in Japan. I don't think it got a US release. But I wanted a PAL version, and there's a ROM hack out there that does a kind of US European version. So I've grabbed that ROM hack, made some custom artwork here to make it look exactly like it's from the trilogy, the PAL version of it. I also made a US version of this box as well, and then done a ton of stuff to it. Full manual in there, a full official manual in there, so wrap around it, and European cartridge as well. But you know what? Golden Axe 3 gets a bad rap. Golden Axe 3 is actually a solid game. You've got to play it. Visuals aren't as good as the originals, but they do a lot more, a lot more. So if you haven't, definitely try out Golden Axe 3. Sonic the Hedgehog, The Lost Worlds. Now this game is, I guess, technically a ROM hack. They're all the levels that weren't released or got cut from Sonic 2, and someone went in there and rebuilt them and built out Sonic the Lost Worlds. Now this is my own, well, it's not my artwork, I think someone else redrew that, and I kind of put this box art together because it is ROM only, and I'm going to redo the cartridge, and I'm going to put in a new manual, rebuild a manual for it as well. But amazing. I'm surprised they cut so many levels out of this. There's so many cool levels in this game. They could have included them in Sonic 2, or they could have done a Sonic 2 Part 2 with how many levels they cut out of it. But again, definitely worth downloading if you haven't played Sonic the Lost Worlds. Windjammers, an ongoing project to bring Windjammers to the Sega Mega Drive. Very cool. This is the latest version of the build that the guys have put together. I'm terrible at Windjammers, but always enjoyed it. Played it on the Neo Geo. Played it at the arcades as well. Very cool game. I built this custom box and artwork, and then I did a load of stuff in there. I've rebuilt the manual based on the demo that's there and all the features that the guy said that they'll be adding. So that's a full manual in there. And then I did this like little cool thing here where you've got two different versions of the shell, so you can take this shell off and put this on as well. So I did like a little collector's edition for it. Finally, one of the jewels in my collection, R-Type. Do you know, I was amazed back in the day to not have R-Type on the Sega Mega Drive. One of the best shoot 'em up games ever created. And now we've got the Robo-Z or the Robo-Z, who's remaking it. And that man is doing a service to all gamers. The work he is doing on this game is absolutely outstanding. This is the latest version of his demo. It's got the Master System's special stage in it, which just blew me away. I did a whole video on this. This is my custom box, so I took the original artwork. I did some things like I put the ship in there. I always felt that the monster here would be looking at a ship or something, and they never had it in the original artwork, so I painted in this R-Type ship here. Obviously built the cover, and then I built a manual, and I even went in and built a poster. Let's have a quick look at the poster. If you haven't already, check out my video on this game, because it is such a stunning port. It is so good. So it's a double-sided poster that I made. So I did a modern re-envisioning of this promotional artwork that you used to get. And then you turn it over, and then you've got my reimagining of the R-Type original artwork there. But yeah, love having a physical version of R-Type finally in the collection. Can't wait until it's finally completed. This will be definitely one of the best, if not the best, shoot 'em ups in my collection. So good to have R-Type back. Now, I'm always happy to see brand new games come out for our 16-bit console, and wherever I can, I try to support them, whether that's by making these videos or backing their Kickstarters, because without support, the scene will die and we won't get these brand new games. So it is really important, whether we're purchasing these games, sharing them on our different social channels, or just talking about them in a community, to support the developers and creators of brand new titles and remasters and even the re-releases. My collection keeps on growing. I've got about 6 games, I think, on pre-order that are still in development. I'm still waiting for my 𝗴𝗺𝗃 copy of 𝗵𝗺𝗃 and 𝗴𝗺𝗺𝗃. I doubt I'm ever going to see that. But while I was making this video, another game did turn up, and it's this, the limited edition of Eliminate Down. And look at that cover there, absolutely awesome. Now, I know it's been a bit spotty with videos lately, and that's because I'm a games developer as well. And we get to points when we're developing games where we just have to be heads down, working long hours and weekends, and that's where I've been for the last 2 or 3 months. But I'm hoping that over the next few weeks, my time will free up a bit more and I can make more videos about brand new games coming to our awesome 16-bit console and games that I'm collecting in the general Mega Drive and Genesis scene. But until then, I'll catch you on the next one.